So at this time, you should be seeing the Blackboard shell. And in the Blackboard shell, this is what the learner does is they log into the Blackboard shell, and much in the same way that you would log into any LMS system, and they can enroll themselves into the course, or they can be enrolled into the course. And this is a non-credit workshop course, and it is a asynchronous course. So at the beginning, we have, of course, the course overview, and this structure is in nearly every module. So we have the course overview, we have the introduction to the course developer, and then we have the getting started menu, which covers basically details of how we go, how you're going to go through the course. So first, you want to test your browser, download and read the course syllabus, watch the course overview video. You want to familiarize yourself with the course navigation. And this section is very important. And I'll go over that in just a minute. And then lastly, we go into the working in the course module 1. So in the technology and technical skills required section, there are multiple parts to it. The thing is that at our university, there are assets that we have that the faculty don't know about. For example, all faculty and students have a free membership to Microsoft Office Suite. And I wanted to let the faculty know about that in a way that was meaningful and also connected it to what I was covering in my course. So I offer instructions on how to download Microsoft Office. We also have a membership to lynda.com, which is a great video repository that has a lot of videos that have already been made accessible. So it really can help the faculty and staff when they're building a course find content that's high quality that's already accessible. And we actually have a free membership to that, and so do the students. Lastly, I wanted to introduce the process for how faculty can get access to software that is in the Office of Information Technology that they don't necessarily have on their computer. So for one of the assignments, I wanted to let them know that they can actually download Adobe InDesign and Adobe Acrobat, and they just have to send a simple request to the Office of Information Technology. So it's really very helpful. And at this time, I'm going to show you the syllabus. So you should be able to see the syllabus. And the syllabus it's called Focus on Planning Accessibility. And in the syllabus, we have the basic information that you need in every course, the name, the office number, the telephone, email address. We have the office hours that are available. So this is a virtual class, and if the student would like to, or the learner would like to communicate with me, they're able to do so during this time period using Zoom. Of course, it's an asynchronous course. Ideally, they probably won't need to contact me, but if they should, I always want to make myself present there. And then I have the attendance expectations. And here we have the course overview. And as you can see, it's meant to be completed over 4 weeks. It takes 3 to 7 hours per week. And the main topics that we are covered in the course are here. For the course objectives and assessments calendar, this section actually is exactly the same in the Blackboard shell as it is in the syllabus, and it covers each section. We have an accessibility overview, or we have an overview of the module, followed by the module objectives, and then the instructional materials, and lastly we have the instructional assessments. And so as you can see, it's the same here as it is in module 2. The content's not the same, but the format and structure are the same. And it's the same with module 2, module 3, and module 4. We'll go into a little bit more detail about what the modules covered here shortly. And the technology requirements, again, indicate, or have the information about Microsoft Office download, the Lynda, and everything that I just discussed. We have the technical skills required for the course. We have a netiquette guide. And then we have grading standards and policies here. And the Focus on Planning Accessibility course utilizes what I call a pass or revise rubric. So it's not about tricking the student or the learner. It's about making sure that they get through the content in the way that they need to. And so you can either pass the assignment or discussion thread, or you can revise it. It's a very simple concept that, again, I learned in the UDL accessibility, or the UDL workshop. The policy on late work, really, it's an asynchronous course, so you can take as long as you need to for it. You know, because the goal is to complete it. And then, of course, we have the plagiarism and academic integrity section, and we have information about the ADA and students with disabilities. So let's go ahead and look into the course now. We're back into the course, and we're going to click onto Module 1 here. And as you can see over here in the navigation menus, the Start Here menu, the syllabus, the announcements. Typically, there won't be too many announcements, but if there are, that's where the student would find them. And then, of course, you have the modules here, and last you have the student resources. And we talked already about how the structure of the course goes with Module 1 overview, Module 1 objectives, Module 1 instructional materials, Module 1 in instructional assessments. And I wanted to make sure that I was very consistent with my labeling and how I labeled things so that the students would never be confused about what it is that they're expected to complete. And I also did not want to have hyperlinks linking to the same content over and over. Like, for example, in Module 1 objectives, I have listed here Google Impact Challenge videos. So I could have used that as an opportunity to put a hyperlink, but then I potentially could have put one here also that links to the same content, and then I would have had one here. So I really wanted to have it so that the student has one way of accessing the content. That way they're not wasting clicks trying to check every hyperlink to make sure that they're not missing something. It's very clear exactly what it is that they need to know and where to locate it. So in the assignments, what I wanted to do was I wanted to combine both the instructions, the instructional material, and the assignment into one item in Blackboard to save space. For example, in some courses you might have, let's say this is an item and this is an item. You might have one item here that has the instructions on how to complete the assignment, and then you might actually have the assignment. And I felt that that was kind of a wasted space. So what I did was I incorporated the instructions in the assignment into the actual assessment here. And what I also did was I wanted to model a UDL approach. So I wanted to give the students variability in how they submitted items. So in this, I give an explanation of how they can submit their assignment here, and they can either submit a written assignment, a video submission, a blog post, a presentation, or they can record audio if that's what they want to do. And inside of each assignment is the associated rubric for it, which I already went over in the syllabus. It's the same rubric that's in the syllabus. And also, if you click inside of assignment 1, there's a section where you can actually access the rubric that has the same information in it. So when they click onto it, it has the instructions here, and it also has the view rubric, which you can do, and you can write a submission or you can actually attach a submission. So this is how assignments generally are structured in the course. And of course, we have discussion threads here. In this discussion thread, I wanted to cover kind of more of an open-ended question where the student or learner can get into why it is that this is important. So, and again, it's a UDL approach, so they have variability with their submission. And of course, we have a QM quiz here, and the reason why we have the QM quiz is because we use the Quality Matters rubric at our university, and recently they made a change from the 5th to 6th edition. And in the 6th edition, there are certain standards that are considered essential standards now, which means that the course has to pass that in order for them to pass the Quality Matters review. And those standards specifically are 8.3 and 8.4, which relate to making content accessible. And that's pretty much the reason why we made this workshop, is to help make that transition from the 5th edition to the 6th edition rubric. I didn't want to go into the QM too much, but we did cover the content. and I got permission from Quality Matters to use both the standard and the annotation for the standard. And because we are a subscribing university, they gave me the go-ahead on that. So I practiced a little bit of what I learned in copyright in the foundation course. So that covers Module 1. And Module 2 is, again, very similar it was similar in structure, the overview, the objectives, the instructional materials. In this case, I was able to locate resources that were from Microsoft. So it was high quality, really the best that you can find out there when it comes to making Microsoft products accessible. So we have the Microsoft Word training series, we have a Microsoft PowerPoint training series, and we have a Microsoft Excel training series. And for this, it's a little bit, the assignments are slightly different. The rubric is the same though. Instead of using a UDL approach, what I did was I created a document that has some accessibility errors on it. And once the learner has practiced the training, they're able to download the assignment document, and they're able to go through this checklist of things that they need to do. They fix the document, and then they submit the fixed document here. And that's gives them an opportunity to really practice those skills that they've just learned. In assignment 3, what the goal was for them to be able to locate and identify accessible templates that are already in Excel. And so what I asked them to do was to locate a very specific template that they need, and then they're going to download it, change the name to their name, and then submit it. So that just shows me that they were able to at least find an accessible template and can use that in the future. And last is the PowerPoint quiz. I didn't mention this in the previous quiz, but each of these quizzes consists of 5 questions. And again, I'm not trying to trick the student or anything like that. So the student is given infinite amount of times to complete the quiz, but they must score a 100% in order for them to get full credit for the quiz. So they can take it 50 times if they need to. I don't think they will. They maybe take it 2 times at the most. And that covers the Microsoft training as it relates to PowerPoint, Word, and Excel. In Module 3, we cover PDFs. Now, PDFs are extensive. Actually, the PDF page that explains by Adobe that explains how to make PDFs accessible is extremely text heavy, and I did not want to use that as a resource. And so I reached out to them, and what they recommended was a course on lynda.com, and it's called Acrobat DC Creating Accessible PDFs 2015. What's great about this is that once they complete the course on lynda.com, they actually get a certificate that they can share on their LinkedIn profiles, or they can use as part of their resume, so that they can show that they know how to do this. And on top of that, they also are able to start practicing how to find resources using lynda.com. So it's kind of it helps in so many different ways. At the course, the lynda.com course, it's estimated that the entire course, including all learning activities, is going to take 5 hours and 1 minute long. So it may take a little bit longer, but the idea was that it can be done in a week. And there are 66 short videos. The videos range in time from some are 45 seconds, and you might have a few that are like 3 minutes long. But it's not overwhelming, and it's meant to be done gradually. And again, the learner can take as long as they need to complete it. There are also 62 exercise files associated with this, so that the learner can practice. They can practice what they're doing in the course with the exercise files, and it's really high quality stuff. lynda.com does not put out bad content, and all of it is accessible, so it's great. So what they're going to do with the assignment is they submit their certificate. So at the end of the course, they get a certificate, and I give them very explicit instructions on how to locate the certificate and download it, and then they submit the certificate as their submission. So that's how this module is covered. In Module 4, we cover closed captioning. And so we cover closed captioning. We also cover the web accessibility evaluation tool. And there is a group, they're called WebAIM, and they are considered in the industry to be very knowledgeable about accessibility. And I was able to locate a video called How to Caption YouTube Videos from WebAIM. It's a video tutorial, and so I linked that as the resource. And I also was able to locate a video created by the University of Michigan that talks about the web accessibility evaluation tool, WAVE. So I linked these two videos, and in assignment 5, what they're meant to do is they're meant to watch the instructional video, and then I've linked them a transcript that I created, and I also linked them a video that I created. So after watching the video, they should be able to upload the transcript, and they should be able to edit it if it needs editing, and put it to a video in YouTube. And once they complete that, they submit the URL, and I went ahead and created a link to explain where the URL was, just in case they didn't know, and they submit that as part of their assignment. And the last is the discussion thread, and we talk about the WAVE tool. The WAVE tool has its pros and cons. I think it's probably the most mysterious process of all of the processes. The PDF is definitely the most intensive process, but the WAVE tool there's still so much that we're trying to figure out and learn about how to make websites accessible. And so what I wanted them to do was to talk about the pros and cons of it, essentially. So talk about how the tool can be beneficial, and also talk about some of the challenges and limitations of the tool. So in this case, they're going to learn about the tool, but they're also going to learn that, you know, there may be some issues with the tool, and maybe it's not perfect now, but at least they'll be knowledgeable enough about it to discuss that. So that covers all the modules and everything here. And then the last part is just an added student resource. A lot of this information is already covered in the syllabus, but it has Blackboard support, technical support. They can reach out to the Office of Information Technologies. It talks about the ADA, and it talks about different privacy policies and accessibility policies.